So for this tutorial, I am using this polyester yarn. You can actually use a t-shirt yarn or any, I think you can double your strings as well. But I am using this yarn that I got from the store. I went back to check if they had more because I love it, but they don't. Unfortunately, I have to wait for another set. But again, I'm using this in the white and cream color. I already opened the other one, so that's the. So to get started, you're going to make a slip knot and chain a total of 15 chains. I would say chain 16 because the additional one is just going to be a turning chain. So make a slip knot and chain 16 chains. After the 16 chain, you're going to go into the second chain from the hook with your first double crochet. So right there you're going to skip the first chain, and into the second chain you're going to go with 3 double crochets all in that same space. Again, we are working the granny stitch part of this bag, which is the center of the bag. So you're going to go into that second chain with 3 double crochets all in that same space. Skip 2 chains, and into the third you're going to go with 3 more double crochets. Right there you can see we are forming the granny stitch. You're going to skip 2 more chains and you're going to go into the third with 3 double crochets, and this is basically what you're going to repeat until you get to the very end of this chain. So at the end you should have a total of 15. Again, if you want your back to be a bit wider, then you probably would have to add 3 more chains, and again the chains are being done in a multiple of 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and so on. So you're going to repeat this until you get to the very end with your 3 last double crochet in that last chain. So to get started with the next row, we are going to go ahead and chain 3 and turn, and right from here we are going to go into the first space in between the first and the second granny stitch with 3 double crochets all in that same space. And we are going to go ahead and repeat the same thing until the very end. So you're basically going to insert 3 sets of double crochet in between the sets of granny stitch you did from the previous row until you get to the very end. And at the end of the row we are going to end it off the same way we started, because we started with a chain 3, which is the same as a double crochet. So for the end of the row you're going to go into that last space with 1 double crochet instead of 3 double crochets. So you can see, you see as I go. So this is how it looks. So right at the very end right there, I just mentioned we are going to go with a double crochet instead to end of the row, because we did start the row with a double crochet, which is the same as a chain 3. So you're going to go right there with your double crochet to end of the row, and this is how it looks. You're going to start and end of the row the same way, just so we can keep the pattern straight. So to get started with the next row, we are going to chain 3 as well, and you're going to turn. So for this row you're going to go into that first space, which is the double crochet space, and the first granny stitch with 2 more double crochets to actually complete the three double crochets because the chain three is the same as a double crochet. And right there you're going to go in between those two granny stitch with a granny stitch as well, and you're going to repeat this until the very end. So you're basically going to switch between row 2 and row 3 until you get your desired bag length. And I'm just going to repeat that until I have my desired bag length, and then I'll come back and show you guys what the next step is. Just remember, you have to end the row the same way you started. If you started with a double crochet, then you're just going to end with a double crochet, but if you started with a granny stitch, then you will end the row with a granny stitch. So I'm gonna get that done, and then I'll come back and show you guys what the next step is. So right here I'm back with the granny stitch. I did end up doing a lot in this clip because this was the first one I made. I had actually ended up going back and taking down some granny stitch because I was running out of yarn. That was one, and secondly because I wanted a smaller bag. So I did a total of 15 granny stitch for the actual bag that I made. And also you guys are going to see me using the whites to actually do the edge of the granny stitch, which is just simple double crochet. But when you look at the bag itself, I did use the brown or the cream color. So again, this is just going to show you guys what you need to do to get the double crochet borders, but you can obviously choose whatever color you want to. So right there I'm just going to attach my yarn to the last granny stitch. I'm going to turn over and we are going to start double crocheting around the borders of that top. So right into that first, I'm going to go ahead and chain 3, which is again the same as a double crochet, and I'm going to go into every available double crochet because into that space with one double crochet until I get to the very end. So you're basically going to go right on top of that granny stitch with one double crochet, and when you get to that um next space between the two first granny, you're just going to go into the first one. So at the end you should have a total of 15 double crochets at the top, because remember at the beginning we did chain 15 plus 1, which was a turning chain. So you want to make sure you keep that same amount depending on how much you made for your own size. You're going to basically just go right on top of that granny stitch with a row of double crochet, and I did that for a total of 2 rows. At the end you're going to cut off your yarn, attach it to the opposite side, and repeat the same thing. You want to keep in mind that you need the same amount of double crochets as the same amount of chains you chained at the beginning. You want to make sure everything is even. So I'm going to get that done, then I'll come back and show you guys what the next step is. So again, in this clip you can see the right size because I later on went ahead and took off some of the granny stitch, and I switched to the borders with the cream color instead of the white. So now you can see the actual panel that I used for the bag. So this is how it's looking. We are going to go ahead and start working on the side panel. So we have 2 side panels, but again in this clip, because of the original idea I had in mind, I was supposed to make 4 panels and then these 2 side panels as well, but I ended up changing the actual design. I'm hoping to see if I can actually get that done with another set of yarn. Hoping I can have enough to finish the actual design I had in mind because it's such a good design, but I did end up changing my mind. So those 2 panels that you guys see me putting on top, we will not be needing them. Hopefully I can make another tutorial to bring that idea to life. So now we have the side panels because we are going to need those for the side and for the handle. So you're going to make, it's just a simple double crochet panel. So you're chaining 5. I ended up chaining 5, so depending on the weight of your yarn you obviously might chain a little bit different because mine was actually thick enough. 5 was the perfect width for me. So I chained 5 and then I just went back with double crochets all until I get my desired length. I did a total of 44 double crochets, and you guys will see that in the next clip. So again, still sticking to my 8mm, I am going to go ahead and chain 5, 6 in this case, because the chain one is going to be the turning chain. And I'm just going to go back into that chain with double crochet, and I'm going to go repeat that until the very end of the chain, chain one, and continue with one row of double crochet until you have your desired um length. Again, I did a total of 44 chains, 44 rows, sorry. That is what I did, but you can make this as long as you want. You can even make this a cross bag. It doesn't have to be a bag. So that's what I did. I'm going to get that done, and then I'll come back and show you guys what how we can attach this to the actual panel of the bag. So guys, after getting your both panel, again, remember you're going to need two of those after double crochet panels. By the way, you're going to need two of them because we are going to attach two on the side. I would also suggest you maybe go for one, because honestly, when I did the two, I already attached it, so I did not want to go back, but I feel like one will be good as well. So you just have one handle, because again, you can see the bag has two handles, which I think was not really necessary, but I already attached it, so I didn't want to go through the process of taking everything down. So if you want to go for one handle instead, you can actually just do that. The only thing is, you would probably need to make your handle a bit more longer than mine, or than the initial length you were going for. So right there, you're going to see with the folded side, I'm going to start single crocheting the white piece, the white panel to the to the cream panel, and with that, I'm just going to slip stitch in this case, because I, after single crocheting few, I decided to go for slip stitch, because then it's going to be way more neater and invisible as well. So right there, you just see me attach the edge of that thing, of that white panel, to the brown panel, to the cream panel. Guys, I'm just going to go back and forth with that color, but that's just me trying to attach both of them together. This is really, I don't really have a way of explaining this. I hope you guys can just look and understand what I'm actually doing. So you want to make sure you take the edge and make sure you lay that flat on the center of the other panel, and start single crocheting upwards, because you're going to repeat the same thing on the opposite side as well. So just look at what I'm doing, because again, this is what I mean by, when I was actually single crocheting, I didn't like the way it turned out, so I had to switch to slip stitching case instead. So just look at what I'm doing, guys, so you guys can have a clue and an idea of what I'm doing. So coming to the edge, I'm just making sure I secure the last stitch right into that last double crochet, just to make sure everything is secure. And this is how it looks when it's turned to the right side. So you're going to go ahead and cut off your yarn at this point, because we are going to attach the handle to the opposite side of the bag. So from here on, again, like I mentioned, after cutting off your yarn, we are going to grab the other end of the handle, because we are going to attach it to the opposite side of the bag. But again, you want to make sure you're going to attach this to the wrong side, so when it's turned around, you're going to have the same inwards and not outwards. So right there, I'm just going to grab my yarn, and I'm going to just single slip stitch this together. So right here, I did kind of made a mistake with the slip stitching. I actually did not straighten the handle before I slip stitched the other end of the panel to the bag. So you want to make sure you do that before you start slip stitching. I just wanted to show you guys, in case you made the same mistake like I did. You're just going to go back and take it off, one side of the handle off, and then adjust the handle and slip stitch it again. So after attaching the handle to the opposite end, you're going to go ahead and repeat the same thing with the second handle. But keep in mind, if you're going for the one handle like I suggested, then you only need to attach the opposite end of this white handle to the opposite end of the bag, which you'd see after you attach both of them to the one side. But if you're going for two handles like I am, you're going to grab the second handle and then you're going to repeat the same process on the opposite side of the bag of the cream panel. I hope you guys understand what I mean, but you'll see in the next clip what I mean. But again, if you're going for one handle like I suggested, then you don't need the second handle. You're just going to attach the opposite side of this, the edge of this white panel to the opposite side of the cream panel as well. So I'm going to get mine done and then I'll come back and show you guys what the next step is. So right here I have the panel complete. We are going to go ahead and attach those two white panels together so we can actually end off this bag and finish it off. So to attach the white sides together, you're going to go ahead and grab your yarn and you're going to attach the yarn to the edge of the cream because you want to make sure you close that end before you get started with the white panel. So right there, I'm just going to attach it right at the edge of that cream pattern and make a secure knot, and I'm going to go right into slip stitching through the white until I get to the very top of the bag. And I'll repeat the same thing on the opposite side as well to lock off the sides of the bag. So this is what the bag looks like after attaching one side. Again, you're doing the same thing for both sides. So I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like after attaching one side. Again, you want to make sure you're attaching the sides where the seam is for the panel, because you want to make sure you have the seam at the same end and not upside down, if you guys understand what I mean. So this is what it looks like after attaching one end of the panels together, of the handles together. So I'm going to go ahead and do the next one, and then I'll come back with the bag complete. So after I had the bag complete and torn on the right side, I decided to see if I could slip stitch the handles together just to make it a little bit solid. Because again, I wish I did go for the one handle instead of two. So because I had two handles, I wanted to make the handles solid. So what I did was I turned the bag again to the wrong side so I can actually slip stitch the handles together. This is obviously optional. If you're fine with the both handles being the way they actually are at this point, then it's fine. But I wanted to slip stitch mine together, which is easy. I just attached the yarn to one end and then I slip stitch all around, and then I did the same thing for the opposite side of the bag as well. But of course you don't have to do this if you're fine with what you have at this point. And that is actually it for this tutorial, guys. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you guys like the fact that I did not just make an outfit. I've been wanting to get into making bags for the longest time, because those were really the things I used to make when I was young. Those were the only things I made and not outfits. So I've been wanting to get back into making bags for the longest time. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope it was easy enough for you to follow. And if you have any questions, of course, let me know and I will make time to answer the questions. And if you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe and like this video. Give me a big thumbs up as well if you like the video, so I'll be able to grow this community big and big and big, so we can just get bigger. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in another video. Bye bye.